Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 28 female, have been with my husband, 27 male, for 6 years, married for 4 years, and we have 2 kids, 3 female, almost 1 female. Everything in our relationship is perfect for us. He's the best husband and father to our kids that I could have asked for. I'm absolutely in love with him, and his actions and words have always shown me that he feels the same way. There's no better feeling than going to sleep in his arms every night. Last weekend, my husband and I had some friends over, and we were having a barbecue. We were all outside in the backyard, surrounding my husband who was on the grill. As the food got closer to being ready to eat, we all started sitting at our backyard table. Once the food was all ready and at the table, my husband went inside to use the washroom and get another case of beer. I didn't realize that my best friend, 28 female, had followed him. When he was coming back out, my best friend hid behind the wall separating our kitchen and the living room and surprised him by pulling him and forcing a kiss. My husband immediately pushed her back and yelled, "What the hell?" She immediately started crying and ran out of the house and left. My husband came back into the backyard and asked to speak to me privately and immediately told me what had just happened. I was shocked and told him that it would be okay and we could talk after everyone else left. I managed to put on appearances for the next couple of hours, but I was mentally distraught. After everyone left, my husband sat me down and told me what happened and showed me the footage from our living room camera. It was exactly as my husband had described it. My best friend of 10 years, the person who I treated as my literal sister, forcibly kissed my husband. After the 3rd date with my husband, she was the one that I told I was going to marry him. She knows how much I love him and how strong our relationship is, and still she chose to try to come in the middle. For duck's sake, our 3-year-old calls her auntie. My best friend tried showing up the next day, just to talk, and my husband had to hold me back from beating the crap out of her, and he kicked her out and told her to not come back. It's been almost a week now, and I'm nowhere close to moving on. I don't blame my husband one bit. He's completely innocent in this, and if anything, he's the victim. I've been lying down on my husband's chest and just crying every day and night. I'm so angry and frustrated, and I don't know what to do. My husband has been amazing, and like always, he just gets it and understands how I'm feeling. He brought me flowers almost every day and cooked my favorite meals multiple times in the last few days. I love and appreciate him all the more for it. I just don't know how I'm going to move on and trust any of my friends again after this. It's pretty rare that someone randomly tries to kiss someone's husband or wife just out of the blue in their own house. Even rarer for that to be the woman making the move. That's not to say it isn't how OP is saying, but I'd be suspicious of this because I find it very hard to believe she did that without any encouragement or prior contact before that day. To me, it sounds like she ducked up, not realizing there are cameras, but he knew about it, so he immediately pushed her away knowing the camera footage would make him look innocent. There's no chance she just decided one day without any encouragement, flirting, etc. from OP's husband. There is something, and OP needs to find out what it is. Maybe her husband is not so perfect at the end of the day. You move on from that friendship and tell her not to contact you. There's no way she can explain it, and you just can't trust her anymore. Seriously, she was so jealous of your life, OP, that she threw away your friendship just on the chance that she could ruin it all for you. I would completely cut contact with her and be very honest with any mutual friends about what happened. Appreciate your man, honey. He's doing his best to comfort you, even though it was him who was grabbed. Show him the same love right back at him. Make him his favorite foods and just be there for him. I know you are, but make sure he knows it. Update. Thank you all for the support and advice on my previous post. I wanted to give you an update on my situation, and it's not what I had hoped for. Your comments made me suspicious, and I decided to dig a little deeper. Here's what happened. After reading the comments from many of you, I started questioning myself that maybe I'm being naive. Despite my husband's seemingly genuine reaction to my best friend's kiss, your words made me think and planted a seed of doubt. So I started checking his phone whenever I got the chance. Initially, I didn't find anything suspicious, and I was relieved. I thought maybe I was overthinking it. But a few days later, While my husband was in the shower preparing for work, he received a message. I glanced at it and saw a message from my best friend. My heart dropped. She wrote, "Looking forward to meeting you for lunch tomorrow." My mind raced as I tried to process what I had just seen. Determined to find out the truth, I decided to follow my husband the next day. The next day I followed him discreetly, keeping my distance. He drove to a cafe across town, parked, and walked in. I waited a few minutes before going to check through the window, making sure not to be seen. There, in a secluded corner, I saw them. They were sitting together, holding hands. They looked so comfortable, so intimate. I felt my heart shatter into a million pieces. I couldn't believe I didn't see it or feel it. I couldn't believe I was so blind and naive. When my husband came home from work that evening, I was waiting for him. I confronted him immediately, asking how his lunch was. He looked confused at first, but then realized what I was implying. He tried to deny it, saying it was just a friendly meeting. But when I told him I saw them holding hands, he broke down. He started crying and admitted that my best friend had seduced him a year ago, and they had been having an affair ever since. He said he felt trapped and didn't know how to end it without me finding out. His tears and apologies meant nothing to me at that moment. The betrayal from both him and my best friend was too much to bear. I told him to pack his bags and leave. I didn't want to see him ever again. He begged for forgiveness, saying it was a mistake, but I stood firm. I couldn't stay in a marriage built on lies and deceit. He left that night, and I've since filed for divorce. I've cut all ties with my former best friend. She tried reaching out, apologizing, and begging for another chance, but I refused to speak to her. I'm focusing on my children now. They're too young to understand what's happening, but they're my top priority. I'm trying to stay strong for them, even though every day feels like a battle. I've started seeing a therapist to help me navigate through this pain and betrayal. Some background. This all started in my teens. When I was 17, my father was arrested, charged, and incarcerated. I ran away from home because the stress and accusations were overwhelming for me. I was a total daddy's girl, and while the gravity of what he did was awful, I missed him. The stepmoms blamed me for everything and made my life miserable any chance they got. They stole all of my savings and the fun my biological grandparents left me, and basically shunned me for a few years after I left. I am now a semi-functional adult, married and paying my own bills. Times can get tough, as they do, but hubby and I always make it work. You should note, I have no kids, and I dislike asking for financial help, even when I know I could. We just want to make it through on our own, and not rely on anyone. Now, the cast. My stepmother. We'll call her SM for short. SSM equals second stepmom. And my sisters involved. Sister V, the only kind one, and Sister D, the most entitled brat. And me, for me. I have had a rocky relationship with the above-mentioned group, due to the fact that my stepmoms blamed me for my father's arrest and incarceration. They blamed me for getting him sent away, and now he can't support their lifestyle. The rest of my family, blood-related, isn't as bad as families go, supportive and caring. Last year, on my birthday, I flew out to visit my biological family, left hubby behind, as he had no time off, and I figured it would be good to go on my own. I stopped in both stepmoms' areas for a few days to visit on my way through. They live separate, but in the nearby towns. They knew I was coming, and I thought things had gotten a bit better between us all, as we had been in communication and such. They had made a few plans they kind of ran by me. Now, I didn't really want to do any of those things, but I was hoping for a chill vacation, birthday trip. But I begrudgingly agreed, as I don't see them much. Things started out quite good, and we had fun doing a few activities. Until 30 minutes before next activity. I decided to run up to the local coffee shop for a quick coffee boost, as I have a coffee addiction, and it really helps me recalibrate myself when I tend to feel overwhelmed and such. I announced my plan and asked if anyone wanted anything. Only Sister V does. Cool, I'm grabbing my things to make the 5-minute trip, and SSM begins to holler at me. SSM, where are you going? Me, I just said the coffee shop. Want anything? SSM, are you serious? We have to leave in 30 minutes. Me, giggles, thinking it's funny, because I'm already ready to go. Replies, I know, I'm ready and just need coffee. SSM. You are so irresponsible and rude. You know we have a plan and we stick to the plan. Me. How am I irresponsible or rude? I literally just want coffee. It will not take me 30 minutes to do so. SSM. Now shouting. We are trying to make your birthday nice and you're gonna ruin it by making us late. Why can't you get it on the way or just wait till we get home tonight? Me. What? First, that doesn't make sense. I want to have energy for all these activities and, quite frankly, don't think it's that big of a deal. Secondly, you really need to stop treating me like a child. I'm almost 30 years old. SM joins in. Let her go, and if she isn't back, we can just leave without her. Me, visibly confused, turns and walks out. Now I'm shaking and pissed. I leave before my temper gets the best of me. Growing up, I hated being yelled at, and sure as hell wasn't gonna keep taking that. Sister D, the most bratty brat, calls me as I'm heading back. Can you get us coffee too? SM and SSM want blah blah and I want blah. Sister V, the sweetheart, texts, don't worry about my order if it's too busy. I already have Sister V's coffee and mine heading back, so I don't get the others as they told me too late anyway. I return and they're still rushing about gathering things and food and doing hair and such to go to a weapon throwing event where looks wouldn't matter since we will be sweating, mind you. SM and SSM start berating me in low tones, knowing I just came back and can hear. Going on about how I didn't have to go get coffee if I couldn't bring them back any, and could be helping them get ready and go and such. I give Sister V her coffee and lovingly let her know I love her and when she's 18 to come visit me. She was almost there. I leave and don't talk to them for a year. Note, I keep in touch with Sister V as she's never been like her mother. Fast forward 1 year. Throughout the no contact with them, due to the many more severe instances besides the last straw above, they continued to text me and make small jabs. Sister D, rude brat, calls and texts me numerous times every few weeks at inconvenient times, knowing well that I work overnights. I block her. SM calls and texts me over a few weeks, and the one time I do answer, she lets me know I'm getting remarried. Will you come to my wedding on date of important holiday? An expensive destination that requires 2 flights and a boat to get to. I state, I'm sorry, but cannot afford such a trip, and that I wouldn't be able to have that long of time off work. Not to mention, it's on important holiday, so likely the tickets will be ridiculously high. She huffs and explains how important of a day it is. I understand, and that I need to be there. She then offers to pay for me as a birthday gift and Christmas present to me. What? To attend her wedding? Again, I politely decline and state above reasons again. I mentioned that even if she pays for my trip out there, not including the hotel and such, would be too much for me right now. And not to mention, I would want to bring hubby and still have to pay for our return home. She says hubby is not invited and wouldn't be paying for him as part of my birthday and Christmas present. I stop responding. I'm very protective of my hubby. He doesn't need much protection. But I still hate when they speak badly of him without ever taking the time to get to know him. He is a strong and hardworking man and has always made sure we have what we need and rarely ever gets anything for himself. He's also a felon. My SM and SSM know the latter and don't care to know or see anything other than the felony part. He has worked extremely hard to be where he is, and we make an incredible team. So when she tells me again why she doesn't like him and why he isn't invited, I see red. I go off on this lady and tell her to stop communicating with me altogether. I'll copy the relevant message onto here. I'm leaving out the one from months back, as I do not want to read that garbage she spewed about him again. The texts. Stepmom, I am really disappointed that you won't be able to make it. There will be a lot of people asking why you didn't come. I don't want to tell them you could not afford it, or because you refused to come without your delightful felon husband. Maybe call me or FaceTime me so we can discuss this further. I'd prefer that instead of texting all of this. Me. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear you're disappointed. I do have a good reason. I simply don't want to come. I think it's really interesting how you're so concerned with me being there, given the fact that you always minimize my problems and assume I'm calling for money. When in fact, I have never asked you for anything other than what was originally in my name to begin with. Our relationship is severely strained. You berate my husband and I constantly. I would like it very much if you could take your head out of your own butt for a second and realize how you've made me feel over the years. I would also like it if you just stopped talking to me." Her reply: "Okay, done." Not sure what peeved me off more, how easy it was for her to drop me, or the whole dang thing. It has only been a few months since then, and I can honestly say I feel freer, more relaxed. I just genuinely feel happier, like this toxicity is no more. I do not know if things will repair or change, and quite honestly, I don't give a duck if they never do. I am doing really great and finding myself more interested in my hobbies again and loving life even more. It's such a crazy feeling when you look back and realize how much anxiety and stress you could have avoided had you had the gall to just let go sooner. Some people are just so entitled and narcissistic that even if they are somewhat family, you just have to know when to cut it off. Wounds will heal, but the memories will forever linger. Good luck to all of you out there in similar, if not worse, situations. I send you love and courage to do what needs to be done. Should have tossed her years ago by the sound of it. I, 27 male, recently proposed to my fiancé, 23 female, and she seemed to like her ring very much at the beginning. She even showed her friends and family. The ring cost me $600. I was able to afford it, even though I had to help pay for my niece's funeral. She passed away from leukemia. She was only a year and a half old. My fiancé argued with me because I had her come with me while she was having exams, but I'm pretty sure that a couple of hours wouldn't make a difference. Last week, while we were talking together, she told me that she wanted to replace her engagement ring. I told her she could replace it, but she told me she found a beautiful engagement ring online that is worth $1,400. That means when I return the ring, I'm gonna have to add up to $700. I told her I don't have enough money to pay. I still have other responsibilities. She told me that she would have paid herself, but since she's trying to study and not working, then I should help her till she finds a job. Said that I'll like the new ring a lot more, but I don't have that kind of money, even if I did like the new ring. She lashed out at me, saying that yes, indeed, I had that kind of money in me, but decided to spend it on a funeral that wasn't necessary in her opinion, and that she saw that nobody showed up, except for those close family and relatives. I was stunned she brought that up. My sister was devastated, and a funeral was needed. Besides, everyone contributed as a way to show support, since my sister and her husband spent so much money on treatment. She still insisted that I'm refusing to see her point and choosing to follow unreasonable family requests. I just snapped and told her she can start looking for a job, save up those $700, and buy the ring herself. I went to visit my parents after our argument, and all I got that evening, just a number of texts, basically talking about my behavior and lack of respect for her feelings. She told me she wanted me to pay only $500, and she'd figure out a way to get the other $200. My friend told me it was ridiculously expensive, even if I had money, and she's being mean and that I shouldn't listen to her. I told my dad, and he said that I should pay more attention to my fiancé's needs and feelings. Not the a-hole. Are you sure you want to marry her? A baby died, and she's bad-mouthing the funeral. Regardless of that, she's not entitled to a new ring when she said she liked the first one. She can either save up and buy it herself, or be happy with what you got her. Not the a-hole. Ask for the ring so you can return it, and then pocket the money. Next, tell her you will be upgrading your fiancé, so she needs to get out of your life. You really don't need her selfishness in your life. It will only get worse. I have a lot of issues, and while I have caused a lot of them, some can root back to my dad. I won't get into things other than years of him comparing me to other girls, berating me, and other actions have left a scar. But when he passed, it hurt like hell, knowing I'd never get his approval. The last few days he was in hospice care, slowly dying, and he still found ways to hurt my sister and I. Needless to say, I'm not okay. I guess that's why I'm asking. My friend from high school is engaged, and I'm part of the wedding party. Said friend has never understood the relationship I had with my dad. Without trying to sound envious, her life has been pretty cushy. Truth is, she's never understood much of my pain, and I've excused it because not many people do. I called her the night he died in tears. She didn't know what to say. A few days later, she asked if I was still going shoe shopping for her wedding shoes. I declined because, strange grief. I told her the date of the funeral. She sent me a thumbs up. I know she had had the day off and expected her to at least stop in during visitation. She didn't come and didn't text me at all that day. Instead, a week later, I got a message asking if I was still a part of the wedding because I was behind on my dress, shoe, accessory shopping. I've been a basket case with reliving all the things he's done to me, watching him die, planning a funeral, and thinking about how the diseases he had at the end of his life could be passed on to my sister and I. I've been short with many people. My friend was no exception. To sum it up, I told her she couldn't be there when I needed her. I sure as hell wouldn't be there for her, and she can take her wedding and shove it. Since then, I've been receiving messages from both her boyfriend and friends saying I've made her cry and am being completely selfish. As her boyfriend told me, I have always expressed a dislike for my dad, so his death shouldn't be such a big deal, and I'm using it for attention. I can admit I'm an a-hole for how I worded things. I intend to apologize. Am I the A, though, for quitting as her bridesmaid because she didn't come to my dad's funeral? Edit. Since it was asked, in the message with the funeral information, I said I hope you can make it. When I called her the night he died, I was telling her how much it hurt. Her wedding is 3 months away. She's upset because I dropped out and yelled at her, not because she didn't do enough. Where I'm from, it's common to go to funerals uninvited. If she couldn't go, stopping at the visitation for a moment or even just a text would have been nice. For those saying I need help, guess what? I'm getting it. But believe it or not, grieving really delays your progress and messes with your head. It's something I hope you never have to experience. This makes me so incredibly sad. But really, there are no a-holes here. Listen, your friend cannot possibly know or understand all of what you've gone through. You cite her life as being cushy, and it may look like that to you. But what I wonder is if she even knows remotely how to approach your sadness and level of upset. And from personal experience, that scares most people off. From what you have written, you are overwhelmed with grief, and you have every right to be. I was once in a similar spot, and I was fortunate enough to have a friend tell me, I think you need to talk to someone. What she was telling me was that I needed some skilled professional help with a therapist. It was an incredibly loving thing for her to do, and very brave, because I could have responded poorly to her suggestion and become defensive or angry at her. I too had pain, and a history that would make most people want to back away because, boy, it was huge and nasty and hard for most people to conceptualize. It drove a lot of people off. Your friend may not know how to love you right now. It sounds like she's hurt, but maybe overwhelmed too, and not know how to deal with your feelings or death itself. Funerals are hard to expect friends to come to, even when we could use their support. I can hear the hurt in your words and hope so much that you and your friend can talk again soon and come to a better understanding. Totally not the a-hole. Friends show up when a parent dies. No one is invited to a funeral. You go to pay your respects to the deceased and, or at the very least, to support the surviving family, especially if one is your friend. That she has gone to other funerals and visitations tells you she understands the protocol. I don't blame you for feeling hurt and let down. If her wedding was imminent, then she should have called or texted. But 3 months out? That's not much of a friend. Good riddance.